Cool. Hey, everybody. Hope you're extremely well. Longtime friend here, Andy Dolich. Andy, great to have you back. And now that it's funny. And now that I have you there, and we are live, I am going to should show up on Zenny 62 because we're live here. And when it does show up on Zenny 62 like that, yeah, I see Andy's face. Ta-da!
Oh, that's wow. I was all dressed up. Now I'm not all dressed up.
Tech.
Ta-da! Oh, that's wow. I was all dressed.
And I thought I had the sound down. Now I'm doing all this for the wonderful reason that I can simply tweet out that, in the words of Jar Jar Binks, we are here. And then we can get started.
Better than Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, Jabba. Yeah, that's right. You will call for Jabba. Okay, anyway, there you go. All right. I'm really excited to have Andy here because we're going to play a little game. Andy, well, actually, it's not so little under the guise of things because we have a mayor-elect. Andy, as many of you know or should know, has been team executive for the A's, the 49ers, and the Warriors. And not necessarily, well, pretty much in that order. And he's done consulting, and the Grizzlies. And so let's not forget the Memphis Grizzlies.
And the Washington Capitals and the Washington Diplomats and the Maryland Arrows and Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment and the Professional Bowling Association. No, I didn't work in bowling.
Which makes him the best person to play this game. He is team owner and director of the Oakland Athletics in this case. And so he is concerned about what's going on in Oakland. And on the other hand, I'm concerned about what he might be doing either in Oakland or Las Vegas that he can't tell me. So we're going to go from there and start. It's going to be a mix of the real and the imagined and the fantasy, and all based on our collective experience in different roles. Me as economic advisor to the mayor, he is what I just described. So without any further ado, Andy, let's start off right off the bat. First of all, what do you think is going on that your president, Dave Cobble, has not sent out a tweet congratulating the mayor-elect or any of the new Oakland City Council members, or any kind of tweet at all since October 5th of this year? What am I missing?
So, Mr. Abraham, always great to be with you and talking about the world of sports as we're focusing in on Oakland. I am just want to make sure that I'm playing the role of the owner of the Oakland A's in the specific suit of John Fisher, or an owner of the Oakland A's.
Yes.
Yes, John Fisher.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we understood.
With one proviso, you can, anytime you want to, step outside of your body and look at what he is doing and offer critique or observation, which then gives you some flexibility regarding critiquing what he actually may be doing, right?
What would be wonderful, Zenny, is if instead of Andy Dolich, John Fisher was on your screen.
I've tried.
You and a large army of men and women in local, regional, national media have tried. And I say it very, very directly, in that John has owned the team, I guess, now going on to 18 years.
Yep.
And has never been specifically internally interviewed on some of the questions that you will be asking. What are you doing? Why do you own the team? What is your strategy? What is your timing? How much money are you putting in it? Let's put the 100% aside. That 100% has real millions and billions of dollars into it. So first and foremost, as an owner of any business, even though, let's set the ground rules, this is a privately owned entity. However, my general view, having worked for a number of owners in sports, And I'm more than proud to have worked with the Haas family for 14 years during a pretty nice run that we had with the Oakland Athletics playing in Oakland at the Oakland Coliseum. Their view was this team, even though they owned it legally, financially, it was the team basically owned by the citizens, fans, companies, broadcasters, elected officials of Oakland and beyond. And that seems to be a real gap between where things are now with the A's and where they were in years past with different ownership groups. Now, you ask a specific question about Dave Kaval, and Dave has been the spokesperson for John for a number of years as it relates to the team's business future and as it relates to the parallel path of building a new facility in Oakland, specifically Howard Terminal, and what they are looking at in Las Vegas. It doesn't seem to be part of Dave's MO to be missing in action, especially when there are such critical events ongoing with the election of a new mayor. Clearly, the A's have had a solid relationship with the former mayor, Libby Schaaf. It's too early to say what the relationship is with the new mayor, as she will be getting used to being a mayor. Be careful what you wish for. And so I look at it in two very simple ways. Either Dave has nothing to say, there's nothing going on. He wants to wait and see, as does John, how this is all going to lay out in terms of the mayoral race, which is now over, what might be happening within the closed doors of Major League Baseball and Las Vegas, or there is something going on. There are discussions of a serious nature going on in Las Vegas, let's say, to really start negotiating, where are you building this stadium? Who's helping you develop it? Who's going to drop $1.6 billion or something in that neighborhood for a convertible dome stadium? And ladies and gentlemen, what are you going to do in the 3 or 4 years that it's going to take to pull all this together? Where are you going to be playing baseball? You have a lease that runs through 24, Zenny?
Yes, sir.
At the Coliseum. So
yeah,
I take silence. Either nothing's happening and Dave has just decided, along with John, that this is a quiet time because there's so much else going on in the world. Holidays, families, global wars, triple demics, you name it, we got it. Or something is going on. And I would say if something was going on in Oakland, you'd know about it, right? Something big. So it doesn't seem they're about to have a press conference at Howard Terminal on a giant crane to say, Eureka, we found it. And I try to stay close to friends that I have in Las Vegas that are in the sports business. And they have a number of quality journalists, and there's really nothing that's come out over this time period of specific, we're ready to announce something.
Hey, so if you were in the place of being owner or say some investor on the team, how would you look at the mayor's race, knowing what you know now, and considering the person that will be within a few weeks, the previous mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaaf? What are your concerns now that Sheng Tao's come in, who hasn't been anywhere on the deal team, doesn't understand tax increment financing, didn't hire any of the people that were involved, yada, yada, yada?
Let's always go back to what we've talked about in the past, Zenny. 3 entities that are needed in any kind of major deals: with a private owned entity, businesses, a city, elected officials, governors, senators, congresspeople, major business leaders, and Major League Baseball, a multi-billion-dollar business of which the A's are a franchisee. That needs to have teamwork, leadership, and trust. Have we had all three of those over the last few years as it relates to the A's and the ballpark? I would not give that a very high mark. Now you've made this transition, as you said, to a new mayor who is sprinting on so many different issues that affect the life of Oaklanders, literally affect the life of Oaklanders. Yes, the A's are important, but so is education, so is public safety, so is the ability to have a quality police force, so is attracting businesses to the community and keeping up with one of the most competitive places on earth, the San Francisco Bay Area or Northern California. If I were an owner of another team, I would be asking John Fisher, I would be asking Rob Manfred, well, wait a second, we're talking about expanding baseball by 2 cities, but we can only do that when we've solved the ballpark situation in Oakland and in Tampa, neither of which is being close to having heavy equipment digging large holes and pouring concrete for these massive projects. If I was the mayor, I would have already, as she was preparing for this, gone after the smartest people that I could that know something about this business. And I don't just mean the business of baseball. I mean the business of politics, the business of transportation, the business of negotiation, the business of business. And I haven't seen any names. Maybe you have. You follow this literally on a daily basis. I want to hire the best people that I can, the best men and women that have a track record and who are tough.
I just want to tell you something she did February 2nd that caused me to go against her. We had a behind Zoom doors meeting, if you will, by her request, because she wanted to understand enhanced infrastructure financing district legislation. She wanted to do a citywide project and tax increment financing. We had a 30-minute meeting where she not only did not want anybody to know that we met, she then refused my request for interviews after that. So my thought was, hey, look, and I told her during the meeting, if you're going to have me do this extra work, I want to get paid for it. That's only reasonable request. What's in her mind that I shouldn't be paid for it? I don't know. Well, my point is that she had the opportunity to say, hey, Zinni, help me start a task force. We'll do A, B, C, and D. But she didn't do that. Instead, she was so busy playing politics and not asking questions. And this is a large part of the problem of the Oakland electorate right now. Everyone thinks that they know how this works. But when you grill them on legislation, like SB 293 Skinner or anything else, they don't know. And they don't want to admit they know. And I'm saying that because that's what happened to me.
Well, it's reality. It's truth. Has the mayor-elect had any conversation with Rob Manfred? Has the mayor-elect sat down with John Fisher in depth and talked about his strategy to understand it? I'd want to know,
as if this
for a major business in the marketplace, what the CEO of that business, forget that it's baseball, any large company in my community, which has been involved in a lot of speculation, but no absolute certainty, I'd want to know what's going on. It's important to my city.
What would you say if I told you that the people who had our introductory press conference, which happened a week ago tomorrow, were former Oakland Mayor Jean Quan, her husband Floyd Ewan, and then a number of progressives that were against Howard Terminal? When they were sending the collective message, hey, Howard Terminal is pretty much not going to happen the way you wanted to under my administration. What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily blame Jean Quan. However, Joe Lacob, who was leading the Warriors, and they've become an absolutely dominant team, but they had sold out 376 consecutive games in Oakland. At least if I'm reading the history correctly, Joe Lacob and his owners didn't even sit with Gene Kwan to negotiate what might have made sense for the Warriors to stay in Oakland. They just went, bye, leaving. All those press conferences that they had, Pierce 30 and 32, which didn't work out, that tells you something about the mayor's inability to look into a crystal ball and to see what was happening. We won't talk about the Raiders just now. Maybe we'll come back to it. But this is big business. This is billion-dollar deals. This is not cute photo opportunities. And where the A's are now, where they've been given permission to leave the market, which is a major point that sort of gets underreported. It's real. They are talking to those that have significant resources in Las Vegas, and they keep coming back to say there's no alternative other than Howard Terminal. And anybody with working brain cells can see that the Coliseum property is a viable alternative.
Share this with you. 2011, Alice B. Toklas Democratic Club breakfast. Gene Kwan is there. If you want to do politics in the Bay Area, you got to go to this breakfast, folks. But I'm there. I'm talking to, remember Rick Welts, president of the Warriors? And I said, hey, Oakland's going to leave. The Warriors going to be Oakland over my dead body. I'll get Gene. Gene was just 4 tables away. So I go over and get Gene. I said, Gene, Rick's right over there. You can keep the Warriors in Oakland. Just go talk to him. She said to me that she didn't get the importance that so many people were concerned about the importance of the Warriors to Oakland's economy. And I was thinking, what? I said, Gene, come on. Just all you got to do is get up and go over. She didn't. Just a little tidbit.
And Rick is one of the most reasonable, professional, proactive people that I've worked with in sports over a long period of time. And that is an unconscionable turnover. And then when you look at, it's not just the teams, it's the fans, it's the workers, it's the people that you don't see behind the scenes. And it's a global phenomenon named Stephen Curry in terms of what he means. Now, I'll give the Warriors credit. They've kept their training facility in Oakland. They're spending some money, but their games are not in Oakland. They're at Chase Center, and a magnificent facility that they built in large case with private funds. Now, the A's have said many, many times that the Coliseum property is not urban enough for them. I don't quite understand that definition. I think the Coliseum area, 66th Avenue, Hegenberger, and its transportation nexus is pretty darn urban. And yes, we get the vision, what does Libby call it, the transformative project in the history of Oakland. Well, when are you starting the transformation? In order to be transformative, you got to have a starting point. And we all know what some of the challenges are. We've seen some wonderful artist renderings. You can't sit in an artist rendering or have a bratwurst and a beer in an artist rendering.
You know, what's fascinating as we talk about that is people forget that if the Coliseum City were actually built or even on its way to being completed, that would have actually dramatically increased the urban density in that area. And for the A's to say that means that they do a lot of this, Andy. They talk, but they don't think about the implications of what they're saying. Like when Dave Cobble said, oh, hey, I've got $12 billion I'm building. I texted him. I said, Dave, you got to explain what the tax increment financing throw-off is going to be from that. You can't just say that stuff.
Yeah, where's $12 billion coming from? Where's it coming from?
Here's the thing. All right, my point is, if you're going to have $12 billion in assessed value, all right, you run that through the spreadsheet, it comes up to at a 4% rate of growth of assessed value over a 45-year period. That's $9.7 billion in TIF. He could have said, hey, look, I can fix your city for that. But it's because he didn't know what he was saying. He missed the opportunity.
If I'm looking at the screen, Zenny, and my first name starts with A and your first name starts with Z, right? Now, we have talked about this from A to Z over a long time as we've known each other. And I'm being serious in terms of the work that you've done, the knowledge that you have, what I've gained. And people think you're done, you're finished, you don't understand it, you're yesterday, you don't get Howard Terminal, you'll never get it, you're wrong about the Coliseum. That's fine, right? We have differences of opinion all the time, and we got detractors from A to Z when it comes to you and me. That's a good one. We have detractors from A to Z when it comes to you and me.
That's a t-shirt.
Let's get a songwriter and see if we can do that and take the show on the road.
That's a t-shirt.
Okay. Okay, I'll buy one, you'll buy one, that'll be it. But the point is that let's look at China Basin. Let's turn the clock back 22 years ago or 23. Is it a miracle 23 years ago at China Basin? I don't think so. Is it a miracle today? Beyond miraculous. Is it worth multiple billions of dollars? Although I don't even know if it's worth 12 billion in everything that's happened. Oracle Park, the arena, UCSF Medical, all the other retail, which is starting now, the housing that's in that area. Okay, and then somebody might say, well, that's in San Francisco, Andy. You still don't get it. And Zenny, you don't get it either. All right, let's look at a place called Emeryville a bunch of years ago. Oh, yeah, let's have this vision of Emeryville today. 12, 13 years ago, people would laugh out loud, correct? They'd go, you think this is what Emeryville's going to look like? Are you out of your mind? No way. Teamwork, leadership, and trust. Look at Emeryville today. Yep. And I don't think Emeryville is too far from Oakland, last time I looked. So it's doable, and it's doable at the Coliseum. Yeah. But let's go back to reality. What's the next step, Mr. Owner? You've received some approvals to build in a parking lot, still other approvals to come. And we know that the port, led by Mike Jacob and a number of other global major billion-dollar companies, are not happy about the concept. Well, why don't you go ahead and really start pushing to build your ballpark on that 56-acre parcel? How come? What are you waiting for if you have the right? And quite frankly, you've received the right from Major League Baseball to move. Mm-hmm. So what are you waiting for? How do you go from almost drawing 3 million fans during the Haas family ownership to 700,000? I give A's fans incredible credit, because they've said, you know what? We understand economics better than you do. If we don't give you money, good luck to you. And that's what they've done. They've stayed away.
Dave told me now 5 months ago that they have a plan in Las Vegas. It's retractable roof. And then I heard from a friend of mine, it's mixed use development, but they're trying to figure out they could put it at the Tropicana site or Las Vegas Festival Grounds. Andy, that sounds to me like when you hear that, and then they've got Bill Rhoda from Construction Sports and Leisure, and Greg Carey from Goldman, and the Legends people, all that they've been talking to for months. It sounds like they're really planning to do something and not just fooling around. What do you think?
I never thought that in any business, and you've seen it, you want to create a horse race. You want to have more than one opportunity. And was this a horse race for a while to try to upgrade Oakland's offers for whatever they could do at Howard? Sure it is. And, it's working that way today. But I've never disparaged that they were working as hard as heck and rolling dice in Vegas to see what would happen, because it's becoming a more crowded market with fewer people. I mean, the NBA has said, we're going. Yep. We're going most likely to Vegas, and we're going to Seattle. who's going to be playing a game first, the NBA or Major League Baseball in Las Vegas? I'm not going to speculate, but the clock's ticking. Clock's ticking.
Hey, and given that Tillman Fertitta is building a casino there and a hotel complex, and he owns the Houston Rockets, can he actually also gain ownership in the NBA team or cross?
I believe that the plan, the strategy voiced by Adam Silver is that the NBA is going to expand by 2 teams, most likely Seattle and Las Vegas. Seattle had massive success over many years. Vegas has become the home of NBA in the summer. A lot of college championships are played. Gaming is changing the atmosphere of sports across the country. I don't think it is somebody moving to Vegas, because basketball has talked about that $2 billion threshold.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an owner and I'm an owner, you want relocation fees, and you share in that. And Rob Manfred has said the same thing about the A's and Tampa. If they can solve their stadium issues, we're going to look at 2 expansion markets and charge $2.2 billion for each. And we know our good friend Dave Stewart is working very, very hard in Nashville. That's a whole other mind bending. I don't get it, never will get it in my life. Mr. Bobbitt, I have high regard for him, but how do you tell Dave Stewart, you got to go, even though your money was more than the African American?
I just want to add that one real quick. We talk about it more often, but out of respect for your time. Dave Stewart didn't want to work with them, and Dave and his wife had a proposal that a guy did that was back in Maryland that was basically fraudulent, and I told him that and was happy to fix it for him, but there you go.
Well, and I didn't know all those details, but if you're looking at somebody that represents the heart and soul of Oakland, it's Dave Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he's out there working really hard in Nashville. We'll see what happens. This is an ongoing level of frustration. And again, I think of the fans. I've always tried in all of my positions to represent the fans, because they're the fluid that runs any of these franchises, even the millionaires and billionaires. If you don't have fans, you don't have anything. And you've seen it up and down and sideways in various cities and various sports. Oakland fans have been some of the most loyal in all of sport, when some of the owners were not looking at a two-way street in loyalty. I'll leave the names out.
Now, what do you see happening over the next 3 months? Because right now you've got a city council that is new. You have a new District 4 representative. You have a new District 6 representative. You have someone who's shifting from District 4. Now she's the mayor. And there's a lot of unknowns. Lauren Taylor's, who a number of people thought was the best hope for Howard Terminal, is out there looking for a job. There's uncertainty. But what there is
an understatement, Zenny. Yes.
But what there is we have the certainty that the economy is not improving. First of all, we have the certainty that Las Vegas is out there as the alternative to go to. We have the certainty that we don't even know if the drawings for the stadium at Howard Terminal are even done, because the environmental review process and the environmental court battles revealed there are no drawings for the thing that were complete. And because if they had completed drawings, they'd know how tall the facility was going to be.
Well, the Artists Rendering Sports Venue Hall of Fame is a place that I always wanted to create, because I could erase it in a moment.
You cannot do a development agreement, as you know, without completed drawings. So are we to assume that the A's are really using that as a stall tactic to get something done in Las Vegas? There is a reason why those drawings are not done.
Yeah.
And this is for a while. What
Well,
do
the
you think?
A's, as I said before, look, neither of us are behind closed doors in
Right.
Park Avenue, New York, with MLB or the mayor's office here, or what's happening in Las Vegas, or in John's meetings with Dave and his lawyers and other people like that. But the clock keeps moving on. And at this time of year, I've always referred to this as the Bermuda Triangle of business. It is literally family time. And a lot of deals in any kind of business, no matter how serious those business people are, call me on January 6th when I'm back. And so that's number one, just this time vacuum. Number two, which we've already talked about, is the new mayor. She's going to graduate school, and holy mackerel, she's going to have a lot of all-nighters. And what's going on in terms of the team back again to teamwork, leadership, and trust that she needs to put together in all these other areas that we've talked about, but just in the A's. Who's talking to Major League Baseball? Who's talking to Fisher and Covell every day? Who's snooping around and doing due diligence in Vegas to know what's serious and what is just, fog, baloney? Is she doing that right now? Probably not. And so you've got to keep up with it. Who are the development partners? $12 billion at Howard Terminal. John Fisher ain't writing a check for $12 billion. And even though you could help him in tax increment financing and all that, that's $12 billion.
Right.
And then what's going on in Vegas? Who's your development partner there? People have already been identified. Who has been identified at Howard Terminal? I haven't really seen any names.
No, I thought maybe Phil Ruffin was going to be the partner in Oakland too, since he flew into Oakland. He's, multi-billionaire.
And the sad part is the A's could already be under construction at a new ballpark and creating the miracle of the East Bay at 66th Avenue. But that's most likely not going to happen, especially with John Fisher owning the A's.
Now you have a stop in about a minute. How are we doing?
I could give you 4.5 minutes more.
Okay, so let's crystal ball. Where do you think we're going to be by March of next year?
2023. My crystal ball says that you and I will be watching the A's opener in late March at the Oakland Coliseum. I'll buy you a beer and a bratwurst. And it could be that the NBA will have already gone down the path of talking about Seattle and Las Vegas seriously, with money identified, investors identified. And Rob Manfred will be having another press briefing to say that as soon as we finish the programs and stadium building with Tampa and Oakland, we're going to expand. And I don't think, I could easily be wrong. I'm wrong every day, as you are, the A to Z. But I don't think there will be a definitive decision by first pitch in Oakland of 2023. I would hope there would be, just to move on, because Oakland, whether the A's stay or whether the A's leave, Oakland has serious challenges, just like any other major city in the country. And it's time to approach those seriously and get work done.
I'm going to throw in that I think that we're going to see a surprise of those images for Las Vegas being released by that point. The one thing that I am concerned about is the way legislation is written. If Howard Terminal were done, there'll be a gigantic splash or potential for splash of tax increment money that could fix a lot of sea level rise problems in both East Oakland and West Oakland, and a number of problems from homelessness to Head Start. But we seem to keep looking at it as an either or, and we keep trotting up these.
It is a ground ball, Groundhog Day. And, I mean that, and it's frustrating because to turn perception, which is what Howard Terminal is now and what Vegas is now, to reality is years. You don't push a button and do that in a week. That's years. What happens in that time period? That is such a key, and there's so many different levels of complexity that have not been sewn together in a coherent long-term strategy in either place. I guess we'll have to see what's in the Z crystal ball and what's in the A crystal ball before we speak the next time.
I got to ask you before you go. Do you think it matters that right now, with Libby's departure, there's no official face for Howard Terminal? Because she made herself the face of Howard Terminal against my warning, but she did that clearly and consistently.
Yes, you need a leader, and the leader in many instances would be the owner of the business. In that case, the owner of the business has chosen for his reasons. That's not me, Dave, that's your job. So he's been quiet. Madam-elect Mayor needs to show who she is, and she needs to have some wins right away. The Oakland situation is not a simple win for the mayor-elect in any way, shape, or form, no matter who it is. It is the frustration of confusion that is driving A's fans, people that just love the team, love the players, and hear the constant baloney about we can't really afford any quality players until we build a new ballpark.
Right.
So you're going to be bad, like 102 or more losses for the next 3 or 4 years. I don't want to market that.
No, you know what? I will issue some advice that I gave to Libby when she first became mayor, and she called me because she had a meeting with Mark Davis. I said to her she needed to establish a sports task force and make Robert Bob the head of it. I'll repeat that yet again because I'm the only person in Oakland's history to actually have established a sports commission.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I sit on the San Jose Sports Authority. They've done incredibly great work. Sacramento for many years had the Sacramento Sports Authority. San Francisco does a great job through the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yep.
Oakland. Hello.
Yeah. I'm the only person to have built one. Got established, federal government approval in 4 months. They told me it was going to take me 2 years. Didn't. Came the 8 NFL votes of the Super Bowl. They still haven't given me a key to the city.
Well, there's a whole other, Oakland sits right smack dab in the middle of Silicon Valley, even though people had said, what are you talking about? Well, everything is the Silicon Valley in Northern California. And if you do things right, all-star games, other opportunities, which won't be available now because the teams are gone.
That's right. Andy, thank you. Then have you back.
The A to Z of XYZ has continued until the next time. Maybe the crystal ball will clear up. Have a great holiday.
Hey, don't hit that button yet. Stick around the backstage, Andy, real quick. Everybody, thank you very much. Join me later to talk more about this tonight. Subscribe to Zenny62 and please bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com. That ends this broadcast with the great Andy Dolich.